Two elected officials from either side of the aisle pushing for a pathway for citizenship for migrants. Not how you think, though. A pair of Congressmen, Democrat Pat Ryan and Republican John James, who I happen to like quite a bit, are encouraging a Courage to Serve Act, which would let qualified and vetted migrants serve in the armed forces. What those things mean is going to be up to them. And then ultimately, they could become U.S. citizens from it. I mean, this ridiculous idea comes after a really rough week on Capitol Hill where Senate Republicans, they boggled that $118 billion bipartisan border bill. But don't worry, a few days later, they failed, and then they passed a foreign aid portion of the bill separately without any border security for us in it. I mean, amazing. In a statement, Congressman Pat Ryan said, quote, he and James know firsthand that there is no higher honor than serving your country in uniform. Quote, if folks have the courage to raise their right hand, swear an oath to protect and defend the nation, and put their lives on the line, then they sure as hell deserve the opportunity to become an American citizen. Is this in the best interest of the country? I don't think so. I mean, these people would be joining to put themselves first, not America first. Terrell County, Texas Sheriff Thaddeus Cleveland and retired Brigadier General Blaine Holt. Thaddeus, my question here is like, look, these people are going from breaking our law to come here. They're not allowed to work anyway because of their illegal status. And then we're going to give them an opportunity to work in a federal system, some of which has classified information. And then we're going to hand them citizenship and free college out of the military. I do not think this is a good idea.
You know, Carl, thanks for having me back. And I see your point. And you may be a little disappointed in my answer. But look, I spent about a year and a half at U.S. Army North, and they report to NORTHCOM.
Yep.
And when President Trump first put active duty on the border, they were the ones that went and put forth the plan. And they protect America for wildfires, hurricanes, and whatnot. But going specifically to your question, I used to travel with Brigadier General Dusney, and he would make the point often that goes, man, you look at some of these 15, 16-year-old kids from Guatemala and Honduras, if they can make a 2,000-mile trek to the United States of America, maybe we should sign them up, let them serve our country, and then give them citizenship. Yeah. Look, when I was in the military, and I know when you were in the military, you probably served alongside some first-generation Americans. You know, I'm here to tell you, no matter who promises that we're going to see the biggest deportation in history coming up, I'm here to tell you most of these people are here to stay. Yeah. We've got to find something for them.
And I respect the opinion, but General, my whole thing goes back to the fact that, like, their first act of this country was to break the law. And if we encourage that by giving them not only an opportunity, I consider serving this country an opportunity for me, not for the country, for me. And that is an honor bestowed upon people that I think shouldn't have broken the law to get here in the first place.
Yeah, I'm with you, Carl. I understand the nobility and the idea that this would be a path to citizenship if you served honorably for our nation. But this is a time of great crisis. And at the very heart of this crisis, our number one national security issue is just over 8 million fighting age men in this country, and they're hailing not just from I want to seek a better life. These folks are hailing from I'm with a terror group and I have an allegiance overseas. Mm-hmm. So what are you going to do? Vet them? You're going to vet them? You're going to say, oh well, I know you had some ties in Venezuela, and maybe we should worry about terrorism. It's just too massive a crisis right now. If we had an isolated, calm time where we respected legal immigration to come into our nation, I could see a pathway for someone who wants to take a legal path where they have not broken our laws, but they got to say, hey, I'll go try to be an American. But I know, you know, let's go back to a failed empire named Rome. They did this.
100%.
It didn't work out.
Yeah, but Thaddeus, but I mean, look, you're dealing with this border crisis every day. And like, I respect the difference of opinion here, which is fine. That's why we you know, have these good debates. But at the same time, like, to General's point, like, what are you vetting them against? Some of these people have never had a recorded piece of paperwork on their entire life, and we're going to say vetted or valid people. I mean, like, who makes that decision? How do you do it?
You know, and again, both of y'all great valid points. And I'll tell you, having worked with the government of Mexico before, we vetted units in CMAR, which is the Mexican Marines, to do counter narcotics operations in Mexico, trained by our U.S. Marines. So there are some programs that we've utilized before that I think would be effective. But let me get back to one more point I want to make is that, man, Carl, the United States Border Patrol turns 100 years old this year. It took this administration, I want you to know, 6 months to completely dismantle 100 years of progress along our borders. Yeah. I wanted to make that point to you.
I mean, that's incredible. I mean, last word to you, General.
Yeah, no, he's got it right. The thing is, we're in a time of crisis, and we have to secure our border. And for those who think mass deportation is absolutely an impossibility, let's go ahead and see how many terror events happen in our cities over this next year, and see how the American people feel about it then. Because I'm going to guess even lefties are going to be ready for mass deportation when we see the things that we're about to see.
Yeah, and that's what I'm very worried about. It's the political will. Thank you, Sheriff Thaddeus Cleveland. General Blaine Holt, pleasure.
Have a great night.
All right, coming up.